Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and compare the iPhone 15 Pro Max that just came out and the iPhone 14 Plus. Now, both these devices are very, very different from one another. I'm not even going to lie, but I will tell you there is still a lot of reason to go ahead and buy an iPhone 14 Plus if you really want to. I wouldn't recommend even buying that phone in the brand new market. I would probably just recommend buying a used iPhone 14 Pro Max at that point, to be completely honest with you, but I'll talk about that throughout this whole entire video. If you want to actually purchase one of these iPhones, I would recommend buying this here. Links will be down in the description. You can get that from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these devices, the iPhone 14 Plus, which came out back last year in 2022, on the front of this iPhone has a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And for sure, in my opinion, it is a very, very good panel. I think Apple knocked it. They did a good job with this panel. It's not like the best panel in the world or anything, and don't make me hype it up that much, but it's a good panel. I think they did a good job at that time, and it was just a bigger panel of the iPhone 14. So they didn't really push the boundaries. I will tell you though, the 14 Plus's colors, there's more colors you can purchase of the 14 Plus than the 15 Pro Max. So I will tell you, the mixture of the display and the coloring of that phone actually does kind of aid a little bit in its favor, but still not the biggest deal in the world. On the 15 Pro Max, you're getting the same size display. So it is the same exact size display that you're getting on the iPhone 14 Plus, the same 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. It's a better panel, so keep that in mind. You're also getting that dynamic island on that display as well, which is a really nice touch. Having dynamic island is really cool, and that is one of my probably more favorite features of that particular iPhone, which is honestly very awesome. Now, on top of that, there's apparently less bezel on the iPhone 15 Pro Max this year, so that might be one feature going for the 15 Pro Max in that specific case, but also two other features. You're getting the always-on display on the 15 Pro Max, which again is very nice, but you're also getting a ProMotion display on the iPhone 15 Pro Max as well. That again in and of itself is a super cool feature, and that is something that I really do like about the 15 Pro Max. So I look at a phone like the iPhone 15 Pro Max and I feel like that's a very good device. I feel like once again Apple did a great job with that particular phone, and I would say that's the overall better looking phone on the front than the 14 Plus. The 14 Plus on the bottom has a Lightning port. The 15 Pro Max has that USB Type-C port, which is a really cool thing to have. In my opinion, having USB-C is the future. It's one of the things that I look forward to for the more future iPhones and just devices coming out in general. So that is something that's really cool. The 14 Plus still has Lightning, which is still very good, but I definitely prefer the 15 Pro Max. On the back, some very interesting changes here. So with the 14 Plus, still that standard glass back, dual camera setup. You have MagSafe on that phone, you have IP certification on that phone as well. Some really good stuff, and I'm a fan of that device for sure. With the 15 Pro Max, on the other hand, you have a frosted glass back, which I like a lot. I love having a frosted glass back, and I feel like that is a very, very cool thing. I will tell you though, with that triple camera setup and that LiDAR sensor, it just looks like the better iPhone. It definitely gives me a better experience from those specific standpoints as well. And having MagSafe on both is nice. Having IP certification on both is nice. But I definitely would tell you on the outside, the 15 Pro Max is the better built phone. It is the better phone. It's the better performing phone on the outside. But the 14 Plus, the main advantage of that iPhone are the amount of colors you can choose from. You have more colors, and I would argue better coloring choices you can choose from on the 14 Plus than on the 15 Pro Max. So from that particular standpoint, that's kind of how I cover it up from that standpoint. Now, in terms of the camera side, like I said before, you're getting different camera setups on both. So on the 14 Plus, you're getting that dual camera setup, a wide and an ultra-wide camera. On the 15 Pro Max, you're getting a wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lens. So you're actually getting an additional sensor on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is pretty big in my opinion. You can film in 4K at 60 on the back and front of both of them. You have ultra-wide sensors on both at the same capability, which is nice. But the iPhone 15 Pro Max has way more zooming in capability. I think you can do 25x zoom on the 15 Pro Max, where the iPhone 14 Plus, you can just do 5x zoom. So that is probably the bigger difference here, I would probably argue. So you're still going to be getting a better performing device from what I can see on the iPhone 15 Pro Max from that camera standpoint as well, which as I mentioned before is amazing and it's awesome. The 14 Plus's camera is still very good for the most part. If you're picking up that phone, you're still going to have a very good time with it, do not get me wrong. But I do think with the 15 Pro Max, if you have to get a phone, you might as well go and get the phone with a way better camera setup. That's exactly what's going on with the 15 Pro Max in this specific case. So take it whichever way you want to, but that's exactly how I see it in the camera department. Now, in terms of software and longevity, this is kind of a complicated situation because we don't really know which specific device is going to last the longest one, but 1 billion% the 15 Pro Max is going to last longer than the 14 Plus. That is just exactly what happens year after year after year. And that's basically what's going to be happening in this specific example as well. You are going to be getting the longer lasting phone from the 15 Pro Max than the 14 Plus. No matter whichever way you look at it, there's not going to be a scenario where the 14 Plus ends up getting more software updates than the 15 Pro Max. With that being said, you are still going to be getting long-lasting phones from both of these devices. Both the iPhone 14 Plus and the iPhone 15 Pro Max are going to be lasting for many, many generations of devices, but also years. Like, we're talking the 14 Plus is just getting started. It's probably going to get another 5 years of software support. The 15 Pro Max is probably going to get like 6 or 7. So with that being said, you're really not going to be getting that big of a difference, in the grand scheme of things. But definitely if you're going to want the longer lasting one, the 15 Pro Max is definitely the better one you want to go in that specific example. Now, from the performance side of things, this is also a slight difference between both. So on the iPhone 14 Plus, at least on the, internals, you had the Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of that phone, which I think was a very good performing chipset at the time. I think Apple did a great job, and I think it was a good performing chipset. With the iPhone 15 Pro Max, you're getting that Apple A17 Pro chip inside. The iPhone 14 Plus had 6 gigs of RAM. The iPhone 15 Pro Max has 8 gigabytes of RAM. And from what I can tell you in this specific standpoint as well, once again, you're going to be getting the better performing phone in every single way you could ever even think about it on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. With the 14 Plus, this phone is still a very good performing phone though. You're still going to be getting basically every single little thing you'd ever want inside of a device inside of the 14 Plus. You're going to be getting very good performance. You're going to be getting quite a bit of RAM still on an iPhone. So any game that you're going to play, if you're playing heavy intensive games like Genshin Impact, Call of Duty Mobile, whatever other game you could ever think of, those games are going to perform very well on the 14 Plus. Now having that massive display is really nice too, because you have that huge display to play these games. And that's actually a really cool thing. And any other application you're going to be using, whether it's Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, those applications are still going to perform at a very high level on the 14 Plus. The 15 Pro Max is just going to take it up a notch. No pun intended. It's going to basically bring everything I just mentioned on the 14 Plus and then some as a better performing chipset, and it has more RAM. So however good the 14 Plus is in terms of performance, you're going to be getting you're going to be getting a noticeably better performing phone on the 15 Pro Max, but you're also getting a ProMotion display on the 15 Pro Max, which actually helps out a lot. Having ProMotion makes the phone feel so much smoother, and that is another big advantage that you're going to be getting on something like the 15 Pro Max over the iPhone 14 Plus. So that is another massive thing to keep in mind. The 15 Pro Max definitely wins from the performance standpoint. To round it off, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is also going to be giving you better battery life. You're getting 29 hours of video playback inside of the 15 Pro Max. The iPhone 14 Plus has 26 hours of video playback. So take it as you will, but you are still going to be getting the better performing battery life from the iPhone 15 Pro Max than the 14 Plus. Again, it's just not even fair. The 15 Pro Max, and to kind of sum up this video, the 15 Pro Max is by far definitely the better performing phone in every single area. It's just no matter which way you cut it, but it should be the better performing phone because you're paying more money for a better phone. So it completely makes sense. The 14 Plus, I think, is a good phone. I don't think it's a good phone for the price. I don't even think the 15 Pro Max is a good phone for the price. I think both these phones are overpriced, to be honest. But that's why you have so many phones in the used market that you can purchase. I think a 13 Pro Max is better than a 14 Plus. And I think an iPhone 14 Pro Max is a better deal than the iPhone 15 Pro Max in the brand new market. So if you're willing to go like 1 generation or 2 generations older, you can get a very good deal in the used market over these 2 brand new devices. So take it as you will, but that's kind of how I see how these 2 phones compare. I will tell you, if you have the money, go for the 15 Pro Max. If you don't, go for the 14 Plus, but even then go for a used 13 Pro Max or 14 Pro Max, to be honest. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.